G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, back at it again with another r/ChoosingBeggars episode. Now if you know nothing about this subreddit, it's basically like you can't have your cake and eat it too, bait. And also, I'm not gonna give you away my house for free. It's just not gonna happen, alright? Hope you enjoy it. Take down my tree or else. This didn't happen to me, but it happened to my mother. My mum bought some choice property lakeside for really cheap. She was put 2 years of labor and her own off days to fix it up and take down all the underbrush to help build her own place out there. The only problem was the neighbors. Around Christmas last year, a tree fell from our neighbor's yard into ours. Not an issue. My mum went to the neighbor's place to chip in some money to help get it off her yard. She offered $150, which is pretty gratuitous considering a basic tree removal package is about $400. And it wasn't her tree in the first place. There was about a third of the tree on our property, and honestly, she probably could have taken it out with a chainsaw in 3 hours. But she didn't have the time or energy to do it, which is understandable. The neighbors start negotiations that went something like this. M, my mum. Well, I don't mind chipping in a bit to help move the tree off of our properties. J, James the neighbor. Well, that would be super kind of you. We're looking at about $500 from you, and we can pay the other $500. Mum, I'm sorry, what? I don't know what tree services you're using, but I'm sure I could find a cheaper than that, so we could probably both save extra money. J, no, we always use my brother's company. He does great work, and I'm sure he'd have it done in no time. M, your brother has a tree company? J, well, he does construction, and he helped us build this place, and he'll help us out whenever we ask. M, would he be willing to do it for less, if he's your brother? J, what? No, he's a businessman. He might go lower for us considering we're family, but it'd still be like $500 for you. I'm sorry, but I can't afford to pay $500 to have this removed off of my property, especially when I know I could get it removed entirely for $500 from someone else. Well, you offered us the money to help, and that's what we're asking for, so I'm sure this would all blow over after $500 comes through. Mum refused, of course, and this pissed the neighbors off so much they took down the tree, but only on their side. I went out and spent my weekend cutting the rest of the tree down with my mum. We eventually found out they liked trespassing to see the lake from our backyard, so we put up huge fence. The day we put the fence up, James's wife comes over and moons us. We eventually called the cops with all the threats they were giving us, and lo and behold, they hadn't paid taxes on their house in 5+ years. Their scumbag brother didn't build the house to code either. Let's just say, they don't bother us anymore. And our next story was posted by user Tess Marin, titled, "Choosing Beggar Roommate Thinks Money I Got from My Family Counts Towards What She Owes Me." Long. Okay, hi all. I would like to start off by saying this happened a few years ago, and has taught me to never move in with any best friend. TLDR at the bottom, on to the story. Roommate, 21 female, and I, 20 female, got a place together. I was having trouble with my family, and so was she, but she explained to me she was getting kicked out. I had known her for 6 years at this point, and she had not so great a family life. So when she told me her father was expecting too much of her and kicking her out for not meeting expectations, I believed her, as this was nothing outside the norm. But that will come up later. I did all the research and found a perfect first place for 2 young adults. The rent was 1/4 of our monthly incomes, within 10 minutes of both of our works, near 3 grocery stores, near our banks, near the post office, and in a good neighborhood overall. I pulled a miracle out of my butt finding this place, to put it bluntly. Except, insert sudden tale of woe as to how she lost her money for half due to some schooling issues and a parking ticket, leaving me pretty high and dry based on how short notice she was. So what do? I ponied up the money and paid first month rent, deposit, and took care of filling the apartment with food and cleaning supplies. We had it set immediately that she would pay me an agreed amount each month to settle the sizable debt. Although my naive self would later find things wouldn't work so prettily. Anyhow, after that, I had less than $50 to my name to last me about a month. as I had just started a new job and my pay wouldn't be coming for a minute. Cue my mother and stepdad having a very heartfelt conversation with me and gifting me $400 as a housewarming gift for me to get set up. The conversation meant a lot to me and left a big impression on me. Lots of tears were shared. I was so happy with the whole situation, I told my roommate the story. Stupid, I know. And she zeroed in on the money I was gifted. So she just gave you $400 for no reason? Well, not really. She gave it to me for the apartment stuff and because I have no money right now. Yeah, but that's for the apartment, right? Our apartment? I started seeing where this was going with this immediately, and I don't like it. Roommate, can the $400 count towards what I owe you? Since you got the money for no reason, we can make it for what I owe. I was pretty appalled that she would even have the nerve to ask this. It was like a scene out of the X-Files to me. My awesome friend had been replaced with some money-hungry cryptid. I tried to remain civil. However, as I knew that stress over money affects people differently. I don't think so. My mum gave it to me because she was proud of me, not to pay your debts. It's mine, and why would you even ask that? She begins sulking, avoiding eye contact, and mumbling her annoyance. These would be her norms when she didn't get her way over the next year. I really wish I would have gotten out of there sooner rather than later. Roommate says, I just thought that maybe that could work out since she gave it to you for no reason. It would really help me out. It was beginning to annoy me that she kept bringing up that I was gifted the money, by instead saying that there was no reason for my mum to have given it to me. You owe me because I already helped you out. The next year living with her was a nightmare. She always had excuses as to why she couldn't pay this or that. Yet she always had money for concerts and parties. She never cleaned, ever. She would leave piles of tissues in every room on the floor, would use cups and leave half-full glasses of milk in her room to rot, just to name a few activities. I also found out that her slovenly nature was the real reason she was kicked out of her father's house in the first place. Both of her parents, over the year we lived together, would separately apologize to me out of embarrassment for their daughter's lack of cleanliness and her attitude. To her credit though, she did eventually pay me back after about 3 years, immediately following which we cut contact since the relationship had long since passed. And our last story was posted by user Genocidal Adam, titled, Did I inspire someone to be a choosing beggar? Long, boring, and TLDR at bottom. Haha, wow. I suppose this is technically not a beggar, but certainly this guy had all the marks of choosing beggar behavior. Once visited a local biz and offered my services for free in exchange for exposure. Basically, I'd do signage at the business in exchange for allowing me to use photos and his business name in my portfolio and website. Business owner liked what I offered and asked that I emailed them the details and my contract and we could get started. So I did. The work was a fairly large window sign, 18 inches tall by a few feet wide, vinyl on the already existing glass. Sent over the details in plain English and attached my free work contract that was basically the same as a regular contract, but was very clear that I could use the business name and photos of the business displaying my work in the portfolio and website. It also had a shortened warranty period, 30 days, instead of the normal 1 year, and explained the materials I would be using are still rated for 7 years without fading or cracking, even in full sun and or wet weather. It also iterated that the work would include a small 3x1 detail that would read, provided by, plus my business name and website, and that it would be placed in an unobtrusive area. Also, I would take 5 photos myself and use those in my portfolio, all of which he was informed of at the initial contact and never objected. The contract also stated that if my business info were purposefully removed in the first year, that he would be invoiced the estimated full amount of the job, a few $100s, and that if it were accidentally removed, happens actually, usually an ill-behaved punk kid who's too impatient starts fingernailing off the small letters and mummy doesn't stop him, that I would reapply my business info at my expense. After the first year, he would be free to remove my business info if he so desired. A choosing beggar is born? After receiving the contract, he went into full choosing beggar mode, He demanded a full warranty, removal of my business info, and that I was allowed just one photo that I could use for only 1 year. He also demanded that I replace the work for free if it got damaged or something. He cited, what if my window got broken and I have to replace the glass? Or what if he moved to a new location? New location is very important here. I told him that the contract applies to a single application of the sign and that any warranty would apply to a failure of the product, and that any work after 30 days would be at a fee, even if it would normally have been covered under warranty, and that if he wanted the sign removed before the end of the 1 year, it would be at a fee of $100, and any reapplication would be at full price. I also told him that this is my contract, and all of these details are in there, and that it's not negotiable on free work. He went off about how we had an agreement and blah blah blah. I told him no, we didn't have an agreement. The agreement is when we both sign the contract and no one has yet. If he wanted the work without those clauses, he could pay for the work. Otherwise, he could accept the conditions and sign, or not accept them and not sign. He didn't sign. He kept insisting that it's his business and I have to do what he wants, and that I offered free work and that I was obligated to meet his terms. I didn't. I left and I never revisited that store, even as a customer. I guess it's pseudo-relevant to mention that I had made a $600 purchase from this business in the week leading up to this, a fact that he's well aware of. Now he has no free sign and I shop elsewhere for items he sells. Remember the part about new location? Less than 2 months later, he relocated his business. I fully believe this guy already had this plan and was attempting to get free work twice on top of being such an arsehat about it. It's been a year or two since, and his business still has no window signage. And I've spent well over the cost of the full sign on products that he sells, but I've spent it elsewhere. A double whammy? Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode today. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!